what most people don't. I mean, I get to travel the country. I get to travel the world. I've done it. I did it for 8 years in the White House, 10 years if you account all the campaigning. I got to go in people's dining rooms, in their kitchen tables, in their VA centers, in their backyards. I've done this all over the world. And here's the thing, folks. People are all just trying to do the right thing. You have some bad actors out there. You have some bad players. You have some people who have lost their way. You have people who are hurt. You have people who are afraid. But most people are like the family you fell in love with in my book. You know, we are not that far apart. People are waking up every day, going to work like my dad did, trying to raise their kids, trying to keep their marriages alive, trying to make sure their kids have something a little bit better than they have. People aren't, by their very nature, greedy or selfish. That is the truth. That is really it. And the thing is, we just don't always get to see that in each other because we're closed off. You know, we're just working, waking up every day. You're too busy. You don't even have time to get to know your own neighbor, let alone your coworker. That's why our stories are important, because it's going to take us ripping down that mask of isolation that keeps us apart and being willing to let each other in, you know, because as I've said before, it's harder to hate up close, you know, and if you know that person, if you know their story, you know what they ate and what they grew up loving, you know the music that they love, you know what their values are, you have a different impression of them. But a lot of times we keep our stories locked up inside. We don't share. We don't talk about it. Number one, because we don't think our stories are worth it. Right. A lot of us don't think our stories have value because sadly we live in a society, in a world where only some stories get told. And too often it's a white male who's wealthy and powerful. And so that's the only story we hear. And we think that that is the real truth. But it's not. Our stories, our cultures, this country is rich with stories like mine and yours, and they're not perfect. They're not glossy and glamorous. They don't always lead to the White House, and God knows they don't have to be important. That is not my truth. The fact that I was in the White House, that is not what makes me me. It's all that other stuff. It's Marion and Fraser, it's cousins, it's dodgeball, it's the first fight you had, it's that teacher that you met, it's that first blow that you had. That's what makes me me. But I've got to be willing to look inside myself and figure my story out and then be okay with sharing that with you so you really know me. You don't just know my skin color, you don't know my hair texture, you know me. And that's what I want us to remember. We still have the power to share our stories, our real stories with each other, to open up a little bit, to get to know our neighbors and colleagues, not make us other to each other. We have to let each other inside, and I think we can do that. People are here because they want that. People have bought tickets to come into this arena because they want to feel connected to something, to someone. That is what people are striving for, and that should give us hope, because that's truly what's inside of us. That's what we're fighting past. That's why we don't feel good in this moment, because otherizing each other to death, that doesn't feel good. There's no amount of money, there's no tax break that's going to make us feel good in this moment when we don't even feel good with each other.
That's right.
But we have to do that work. We have to do that work, and I'm optimistic that we can. So I want you all to feel hopeful. Don't lose sight of that, because here's the thing. We can't afford to lose hope.
That's right.
We lose hope, then we've given up on our kids.
That's right.
And our kids deserve more than us being frustrated and sad and unhappy. So if you are feeling down, get your voting card, registration card, get it signed up, make sure you are, figure it out, because that is still the power of this democracy. It's in our hands. And I'm hopeful that we'll find it in ourselves to get us in a better place. I know we can. I want to thank you guys so much.